Good morning, Turks&Caicos, and welcome to Disaster 365. I am Joanna Wilson, your Community Preparedness Officer from the Department of Disaster Management and Emergencies. Joining me in studio today is Mr. Desmond Lightbourne, the Community Preparedness Manager at the DDME. Good morning, Mr. Lightbourne.
Good morning, Ms. Wilson, and good morning to the entire Turks and Caicos Islands.
Today we're talking about the community preparedness activities that was recently conducted and continuing a focus on the annual Disaster Preparedness Week Campaign that was launched on the 15th of September under the theme Power in Preparedness. Now, Mr. Lightbourne, can you share with us the concept behind the theme for this year?
Okay, first and foremost, Ms. Wilson and Turks and Caicos, let me remind you that this is an annual event that is put on by the Department of Disaster Management and Emergencies, and every year we have a different theme. This year we chose to go with the theme Power in Preparedness. Okay, let me highlight at least 3 points behind this year's theme. Number one, it was to bring awareness of risk that are exposed to us here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Also to empower the public to prepare by understanding their risk and the methods they can use to mitigate against their risk. And lastly, we all know that we cannot stop hazards from occurring or from happening, but we can all prepare to reduce the stress, to secure our property, to save lives, and in that, we have the power in preparedness.
All right, that sounds like an excellent theme. What is the importance of this campaign?
Well, Joanna, here in the Turks and Caicos, we know for a fact that we live in the hurricane zone, and the hurricane season starts from the 1st of June to the 30th of November, and we are frequently impacted by storms. However, we need to be cognizant of other hazards that may affect us, and it can occur without any warning whatsoever, such as tsunamis and earthquakes. Therefore, it is important that we take this outreach to the schools because we realize that children are the best teachers to their parents. And if we target the schools, we target the kids, they will indeed take that knowledge home and advise and aware their parents as to some of the things they need to be doing in preparation. Remember, in sticking to the theme, we says there's power in preparedness. So we're empowering the kids to take the message home to their parents.
Desmond, can you share with us what was the outline of the presentations that were conducted with the students?
Okay, yes, Joanna, I can share with you what we embarked on was the role of DDME, the Department of Disaster Management and Emergencies, and its core functions. Also, we spoke of the disaster management cycle. We spoke to the calculation of risk, the most frequent hazard that impacts the TCI, and also we embarked on sharing with the students as to how they can go and prepare their survival kits.
So the outreach sessions were conducted in the schools. Can you mention which islands or schools it was completed in?
Yes, we did a number of schools throughout the TCI, and we were not finished as yet. But some of the schools that we've touched base with was the Madre Basin High School in South Caicos, the Irish Stubbs Primary School in South Caicos, and also the Calvary Christian Academy in South Caicos. In Grand Turk, I think there were 2 schools that were targeted there, and it's continuing. Also in Providenciales, we did the Enid Capron Primary School, and because we were making preparations for Hurricane Jerry, we had to postpone activities at the other schools. However, that is still ongoing. This week, we'll continue our outreach to Providenciales to North Caicos and to Middle Caicos, as well as Grand Turk.
That the outreach will be continued. Can you share with us what are some of the major hazards that were discussed during the presentations with the students, and what was their engagement like?
Well, since we embraced the comprehensive disaster management and the cycle, which includes all phases, all hazards, and all people, we tend not to dwell too much on hurricanes, even though it's our most frequent hazard, but we also remind the students of hazards such as earthquakes, what to do when an earthquake occurs. Also, tsunamis. What do you do of an impending tsunami? And we try to take them back through drills that were previously shared with them, and they were really enthused. They remember the drills, and it was an exciting time.
What are some of the other outreach plans you have for businesses, private stakeholders, churches, etc.?
Okay, prior to the visits to the schools, we held a town hall meeting in South Caicos, and we intend to take town hall meetings throughout the length and breadth of the Turks and Caicos Islands. Our next town hall meeting will be in Grand Turk, followed by a town hall meeting in North and Middle Caicos, and last but not least in Providenciales. We must be reminded that disaster preparedness, if we are to take it seriously, it has no season, and preparedness and awareness must be a continued thing. We cannot only make ourselves vulnerable by focusing only on one hazard, right, which we are more familiar with, such as hurricanes. We need to think out of the box, think of other susceptible hazards such as earthquakes or tsunamis. We need to speak to the business community, and also through the churches we will be having similar town hall meetings. But residents of TTCI are advised, and we constantly say this to the residents, to follow the proper building codes and conduct comprehensive risk assessment of your property so that you can reduce the risk. Remember, we says there's power in preparedness. Okay, so if you mitigate and you prepare properly, then we will reduce the risk of any impending storm or hazard.
Before we close this session, do you have any final remarks that you want to share with the public?
Yes, Joanna, and to the wider Turks and Caicos community, please be reminded that preparation makes sense. Preparedness is key. Let us not be caught off guard. Remember, it only takes one storm. You have the power to prepare for any and all hazards, especially the most frequent one. Let us learn from our neighbors. Let us learn from our neighbors and also our past experiences. And my most famous line to everybody is, disaster management is everybody's business. If the concepts of the disaster cycle are to be truly effective, it involves everyone's input. Remember, we says comprehensive disaster management is all places, all phases, and all people. Thank you, Joanna, for having me. Thank you, TCI.
Thank you, Mr. Lightbourne. It was a pleasure having you, and we look forward to having more community outreach activities planned to reduce our risk of natural hazards and man-made threats. So there you have it, folks. Town hall meetings are coming up. We have continuous school outreach, and we want you to participate on all activities planned. For more information on how you can prepare for other hazards, visit the DDME's website at www.gov.tc/DDME. Until next week Wednesday, be safe and take care.